Welcome to Uncharted and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jamieson, your host, and this is where we break free from the noise and dive deep into what truly matters you. If you're tired of the shoulds, the expectations, and the pressures to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you, you're in the right place. This isn't a podcast about easy answers or sugar coated advice. This is your invitation to reclaim your path, embrace the unknown, and become the bold, unapologetic version of yourself that's been waiting to show up. It's time to get unfiltered. Let's get started. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Uncharted and Unfiltered, a journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jamieson, and this is the space where we step out of the noise, the pressure, the performance, and come back to what is true. Not what is expected of you, not what looks good on paper, not what gets the most approval or the most applause, but what's true in you. And if you are someone who looks capable on the outside but feels quietly unsettled on the inside, if you are a leader who is tired of carrying so much alone, if you have been doing all the right things and still feel like something is off or missing, you are exactly where you need to be. Today's episode is both a reflection and a declaration. It's about what I've witnessed, what I know in my body to be true, and why now, more than ever, this works. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. And remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamisoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you. Specifically, over this last couple of weeks, 5 clients, 5 leaders, 5 lives, 5 individuals have completed their coaching journeys with me. And while each of their paths were different, their roles, the industries, the life circumstances, there was a pattern so clear that I couldn't unsee it. And every single one of them came to our work together looking outside of themselves for the answer. And every single one of them left knowing how to find it within. Not because their lives suddenly became easy, not because the pressure disappeared, not because someone else changed, but because they learned how to stay with themselves. They learned how to pause instead of panic, how to feel instead of flee, how to tell the truth instead of performing certainty. They learned how to sit with the discomfort of seeing how they sabotage themselves without turning that awareness into shame. They showed up week after week, moment after moment. They built capacity. And watching that happen for this specific 5 clients over and over made something unmistakably clear to me. This work is not optional anymore. Those who can lead must, and we only need to look at what's happening within the world stage to know that statement to be true. So let me share a moment. I want to share 3 of them actually. No names, no details. I would never want to expose anyone, but I want to share 3 of these moments. I'm going to talk about one client specifically right now. So one of my clients came to me consumed by a decision. Now, on the surface, it looks strategic, a role change, a leadership opportunity. a should I say yes or no question. But every time they tried to decide, they spiraled. They asked everyone, their partner, their mentor, their boss, their friends. They made a pros and cons list. They researched. They over prepared. And still, nothing landed. And what we uncovered wasn't indecision, it was self abandonment. They had learned early in their life that clarity lived outside of them. It's so easy to see it happen, especially when you are around children or little children specifically. Like, mom, is it okay? Or mom, can I? Or dad, can I? Like, it's so easy how this programming takes place. And for my client, that safety came from approval, that being right mattered more than being true. So the work wasn't answering the question. The work was in helping them stay in their body long enough to feel what they knew. So we slowed everything down. We noticed what expanded. We noticed what contracted. We tracked the urge to rush. We named the fear underneath the urgency. And eventually something shifted. They didn't get louder. They didn't get more convincing. They got quieter, clearer, rooted. The decision came, not with any fireworks, but with calm. And that is connected leadership. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about why this moment matters. Here's what I believe is urgent right now and why I think it is. We are living in a world that is louder than it's ever been. Information, opinions, predictions, content, advice. And with the rapid adoption of AI, the noise has multiplied. Even if you're intentional, even if you curate what comes into your beautiful brain carefully, even if you know better, you can still become disconnected from your own knowing. And when that happens, you outsource your power to experts, to systems, to algorithms, to people you admire. And you don't do this because you're weak, but because uncertainty is uncomfortable. And the cost? Leaders who look confident but feel hollow inside. Decisions made from fear instead of truth. Burnout masked as dedication. Control mistaken for competence. And this isn't a leadership problem. It's a connection problem. And I live and have lived. I'm still a human, but I have lived from this place of looking confident, of living a life that looked successful on the outside and feeling inside like I was dying. My aliveness went somewhere to hibernate. And this is really, really important. So let me share with you what I mean by a connected leader, because I want to be super clear about what that is. A connected leader is aware of where they are connected outside of themselves. What do I mean by that? Their organization, their community, relationships, roles, responsibilities, their expectations. And at the same time, and this is the key, they are deeply connected to themselves. And what do I mean by that? Their values, their body, their voice, their inner authority, their yes and their no, and how each of those feels differently and lands differently in their body, their truth. And when you're connected in this way, here's what's interesting. You know your values and you know your value. You know yourself. And because of that, because of knowing yourself, decisions become cleaner, boundaries become possible. Voice becomes available. Not perfect, not easy, but honest. Now, let me share another one of these moments. This is an over responsible leader. So, a client of mine comes in exhausted, high performing, highly respected, quietly resentful. They carried everything, everyone's feelings, everyone's outcomes, everyone's mistakes. They shared with me, I just care more than everyone else. And I hear this a lot. But when we slowed down and got curious, we saw something else. They believed their worth came from being needed, that rest had to be earned, that letting go meant letting people down. Their overfunctioning wasn't generosity, it was fear. And here's the hard part, they benefited from it. What do I mean by that? They got validation, they got praise, they got a sense of purpose, and they also paid dearly for that. We didn't rip that away, we examined it. We got really, really curious. We asked, what do you get from this? What does it protect you from? And what would happen if you didn't do this? And slowly they began to choose differently. It wasn't dramatic. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden I'm saying, okay, I'm never going to do this thing again. It's not perfect, but it's conscious. And that is self leadership. And one of the things that I love about this work, now that I've seen it and I can't unsee it, is that when you become someone that is connected, whenever anything that goes on or takes place that has you question, one of the questions that you do ask yourself is, how is this for me? Even if it's tough, even if it's hard, all of those sorts of things. And that is self leadership. It's letting me lead myself before I lead anyone else. So I want to talk a little bit about power leaks and shame cycles because this is where so many leaders get stuck. And let me qualify here. When I say so many leaders, I'm including myself in all of this. I have a lot of experience making plenty of mistakes. And that's one of the reasons why I love this work and I love sharing this work. And I know that this work is so meaningful. And my experience is no different than yours. You've made errors in judgment, and you have probably invited other people not to make the same error because you already have, and therefore they don't need to. And that's what we're doing here. So I say this because so many leaders get stuck here. They notice patterns, but without tools, support, awareness so easily turns into self judgment. I shouldn't be like this. What's wrong with me? I know better, or I should know better. And then shame creeps in. And shame keeps all of those patterns and cycles alive. And so instead of curiosity, we collapse. Instead of growth, we spiral. And instead of agency, we wait. And sometimes in between that, we vent. And what do we get? Momentary relief. Sometimes we stay stuck. And what do we get? Delayed decisions. And sometimes we play the victim. And what do we get? Someone might rescue us. And none of this makes you broken. It makes you human, but it does keep you from your power. Now, I want to share one last moment. A client realized that they were lonely. They were surrounded by people, respected, included, but deeply alone. And not because they had no one, but because they couldn't say what mattered most. They filtered themselves, softened their truth, managed others' comfort. And perhaps you've done this. I know I have done this. And when they finally said the thing that they were afraid to say, not perfectly, but honestly, something profound happened. They weren't rejected, they weren't abandoned, they were relieved. Why? Because connection returned, not comfort, connection with themselves and with the other party. So I want to share, like, there's a core shift here that I really want to highlight because underneath all of this is a simple, energetic truth. Fear contracts and love expands. Fear performs and love reveals. Fear strategizes safety and love anchors truth. And the antidote that I have noticed that is so beautiful is curiosity, not fixing, not forcing, not judging, just asking, what's really happening here? But asking from a place of pure curiosity, being fascinated with oneself. What is happening here? What do I need? What am I avoiding? What's the truest next step? There are so many beautiful questions, but this is how capacity is built. Just like the gym, just like training for a run, reps, practice, support. And so here's what I am claiming. And I want to say this clearly because this is not theoretical for me. I have just booked flights to India, not as a retreat escape, it is a retreat, and not as a break from my life, but as a continuation of the same work that I ask my clients to do, to slow down, to listen more deeply, to sit with and in uncertainty instead of trying to outrun it. This year is asking for depth, not more noise. And I am answering that call in my own body, not just in my words. In 2026, I am onboarding a small number of leaders for 9 months because this work requires depth, time, breath. We go subterranean. We dismantle the stories. We build capacity. We restore connection. And you don't come out fixed. You come out whole, more powerful than you ever thought possible because you are no longer split from yourself. So if you are listening and you are feeling that internal yes, I want you to know that now, between now and the end of March, is when I'm onboarding new clients. And that's not because this work is urgent, but it is because starting now gives us space to build capacity before the year speeds up. Leaders who begin this work early do not scramble later. They lead from the ground instead of grit. Now, one thing that I have thought about here is offering you a little bit of a practice. And depending on where you are, depending what you're doing, I'm going to invite you to be the expert on you. And if it feels safe, I invite you to pause whatever you're doing. Definitely don't do that if you're driving a vehicle. But if you are, I invite you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and then exhale out through your mouth with an audible sigh. Just letting go, letting go, letting go of everything that it's taken you to get to this point in your day. And place one hand on your body, your chest, your belly, wherever you feel drawn. Trust yourself to know where that is. And take another slow breath in through your nose and a long exhale through your mouth once again. Just let your shoulders drop. Now ask yourself, without answering yet, where am I outsourcing my power right now? Notice what arises. No fixing, just noticing. Mm. Now take another breath and just connect with yourself and your body and ask, what am I avoiding, feeling, saying, or choosing? Let your body respond before your mind. And now take another breath and ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Not what's expected, not what's sufficient, what's true. Notice any tightening, any softening. And now I invite you to place a hand over your heart and gently say to yourself, I'm allowed to listen. I'm allowed to choose. I'm allowed to lead myself. And when you're ready, with one final breath, then open your eyes. So if something in you is quietly saying, this is my work, I invite you to listen. My 9-month experience is for leaders who are ready to stop performing clarity and start living it. And if you want to explore it, just connect with me. Send me a message. Get in touch with me. You're brilliant. Send me the word connected. And remember, loneliness isn't about empty rooms. It's about unsaid truth. Leadership begins when you're willing to speak and live what matters most. I'll see you next time on Uncharted Unfiltered. Goodbye. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamiesoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.